This week, I learned about how to plan like a military leader who commands a company, platoon, or a simple squad, how to make use of time available between planning and execution, and I am sharing it with you.
All right, listen up. Drop your gear, grab a notebook, and lock in because today's explainer is a mandatory, high-stakes tactical briefing. We are diving deep into troop leading procedures, or TLP. Look, in the absolute, unforgiving friction of combat, the difference between a decisive victory and a total catastrophe, that's usually determined before a single round is even fired. TLP is the bedrock of small unit combat power. It gives you the structured decision-making you need to build shared understanding and disciplined initiative right there in your unit. If you want to survive and win out there, you are going to master this. Pay strict attention to today's training schedule. First, framework for tactical success. Second, mastering the time constraint. Third, TLP steps 1 to 4. Fourth, TLP steps 5 to 8. And finally, keys to flawless execution. Let's get right into it. Section 1, framework for tactical success. This is the absolute foundation of command. So what exactly is TLP? According to Army Doctrine, ADP 5-0, troop leading procedures are a dynamic process used by small unit leaders to analyze a mission, develop a plan, and prepare for an operation. Now, I want you to burn the word dynamic into your brain. TLP is your decision-making engine. It's not some rigid, linear checklist that you just mindlessly tick off. It's a structured lifeline that drives your continuous cycle of planning, preparing, executing, and assessing. In a high-tempo environment, these steps are going to overlap, and you've got to remain flexible. You've got to understand who actually uses this doctrine. See, the brass up at the higher echelons, they rely on the military decision-making process, MDMP, and they have a massive formal staff to do the heavy lifting for them. But TLP, that is strictly for company-level leaders and below. I'm talking to you, platoon leaders and NCOs. You don't have the luxury of a staff. You carry the brutal weight of all that analysis and coordination entirely on your own shoulders, whether you're running a simple tactical convoy or leading a complex offensive strike. Moving to Section 2, mastering the time constraint. Because let me tell you, time is the absolute enemy of planning. Time is the most unforgiving variable on the battlefield. You cannot buy more of it, so we master it using a very specific doctrinal standard. This right here is the 1/3, 2/3 rule. It is the golden rule of time management. You take a maximum of 1/3 of the available time for your own mission analysis, recon, and orders. You leave a massive 2/3 for your subordinates. Think about it. If you are crossing the line of departure in 12 hours, you get exactly 4 hours to issue your warning order. The other 8 hours belong to your troops so they can inspect gear, refine their plans, and rehearse. Let me make this crystal clear for everyone. If you fail to ruthlessly guard that 2/3 slice of time for your troops, you have failed as a leader. If your soldiers are just sitting around waiting for you to finish some top-down synchronization, you are literally handing the initiative straight to the enemy. Don't steal your soldiers' prep time. All right, Section 3, TLP steps 1 to 4. This is where we initiate the action. I need you to memorize these first 4 steps because when the order comes down, they have to happen with lightning speed. Step 1, receive the mission. Step 2, issue a warning order. Step 3, make a tentative plan. And Step 4, initiate movement. That's your roadmap for the first half of the operation. Let's break them down so you know exactly how to execute under pressure. Step 1, receive the mission. This usually drops via an operations order, a FRAGO, or a verbal briefing. Now, the experts will tell you, don't get bogged down in administrative notes here. You are the architect. Bring your radio telephone operator, your RTO, and have them write down every single grid, frequency, and minor detail. You need a pre-prepared OPROAD shell, like a standard template for ambushes or defenses, so you can plug the mission in instantly and start visualizing the battlefield. Fight for every single second. Step 2 is issuing the warning order, the warno. You can sketch this out in the dirt if you have to, but this is the trigger that launches your unit's prep cycle. The absolute second you have enough intel to get your unit moving, you issue this. It's got to include the situation, your mission statement with the 5 Ws, a backward planned timeline, and specific tasks. Tell your assault element to rehearse EPW procedures right now. Tell your security element to start building a train model. Just get them moving. Step 3. This is your deepest, most critical analysis. You are making a tentative plan using METTC, Mission, Enemy, terrain, troops, time, and civil considerations. Take the Ukrainian Satan stronghold case study, for example. First, you identify the decisive factor. In that fight, it was destroying enemy armor. Next, you map the logic of the flank. If they expect you from the front, going frontal is a gamble. You flank to exploit the gaps. Then, use terrain profiling to find invisibility fields. Those are the dead zones where you can move completely unseen. Finally, map the mobility corridors. The output here? Your commander's intent. Step 4 is initiate movement. Listen to me very carefully on this. Do not wait for a perfect plan. This step absolutely should overlap with your planning. If you know you need to stage vehicles, do it. If you need to push to an assembly area, move out. Get your troops topping off fuel, grabbing rations, and securing ammo as soon as you have enough intel to get positioned. All right, Section 4, TLP Steps 5 to 8. We are locking down the intel and preparing for direct execution. The back half of TLP takes absolute, unwavering discipline. Step 5, conduct reconnaissance. Step 6, complete the plan. Step 7, issue the order. And Step 8, supervise and refine. Let's hit these hard. Step 5, reconnaissance. Doctrine is pretty ruthless about this. No amount of intelligence prep substitutes for your own eyes on the ground. A physical, first-hand assessment of the AO is the doctrinal gold standard. But let's be real, if a physical recon is impossible, you do a map recon at a minimum. And today, you've got to use digital visibility software like Nettle or Delta. That digital recon confirms exactly where the enemy can see you and where your weapons can engage from dead zones. Step 6 is complete the plan. You're turning that tentative idea into actionable reality. You're baking in everything you just saw on your recon. But more importantly, this is where you coordinate externally. Link up with S2 Intel to update the enemy situation, confirm obstacle gaps with the engineers, finalize your fire tables with fire support. You are building your convoy manifests right here, right now. Step 7, you issue your order. Usually, this is a verbal 5-paragraph OP ord covering a situation, mission, execution, sustainment, and command and signal. Building a physical sand table ensures that every single soldier can visualize the exact maneuver before stepping off. And when you brief this, you must brief non-digital control signals, hand signals, pyrotechnics. Why? Because electronic jamming is a massive threat out there. If your comms go completely dark, the mission still continues. Finally, Step 8, supervise and refine. This is the assessment pillar. Listen, rehearsals are non-negotiable. You do radio rehearsals to test comms. You do walkthroughs on the sand table to sync timing. You run full battle drills. Have your subordinates give you a confirmation brief so you know they actually understand the mission. And you, as the leader, will personally conduct pre-combat inspections on critical gear. You don't just hope a plan works. You supervise it into reality. Section 5. We've drilled the 8 steps. Now we graduate to expert execution. Lock these expert rules into your mind right now. First, delegate planning duties. You're the architect, not the laborer. Have your platoon sergeant write the sustainment paragraph. Second, study the doctrine. Memorize those standard maneuvers so your brain is free to adapt to the terrain. Third, fight the enemy, not your plan. If your recon shows a new enemy bunker, reframe your plan immediately. And fourth, the leader's recon is non-negotiable. If you haven't seen the ground, you are just guessing. Troop leading procedures give you a common language and a framework for action. But never forget, this process is just a guide. It is never a substitute for your own judgment, your own grit as a commander. So ask yourself, how are you going to take this framework, adapt it, and impose order on the chaos in your own environment? Review these steps, drill them relentlessly with your units, and be ready to execute when the time comes. Dismissed.
Did you learn something new and exciting about military leadership, time management, and executing a mission? Share it here. I want to know about it too.